What is up, everybody? Happy Friday Eve to those who celebrate the best day of the week out there. I'm your host, Richard Hanson. It is just going to be me running solo today, so that is all good. But we have a phenomenal guest for you guys. If you guys have never heard of Tim Yu, you guys are really in for it. But before I bring him up, I just wanted to tell you just a little bit about him. He's a big deal. I let him more so talk about him, so I won't talk about it too much. But tonight's guest, Tim Yu, real estate investor, active duty soldier, content creator, and a leader within various communities, one of which I'm in, Sub-2 community. So Tim is building financial freedom while still serving in the military, which is a pretty big deal. And he's using his journey to educate and inspire others through his growing platform on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, being a guest at various events, talking on stages, things like that, whether it's creative finance, mindset, or building wealth with discipline. Tim brings a unique perspective on what it means to take action and create opportunities for your future. So no matter where you start from. So please welcome Tim Yu to the podcast tonight. Tim, bro, what's going on, brother?
Yo, what's up, man? What's going on, Rich? It's a long time no see, man.
Long time no see. Yeah, this is close to, I guess we've met actually like in person. This is like virtual, huh?
Oh, yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy, man. But I just want to give a shout out, man. 29 straight episodes. Lots of freaking consistency, lots of hard work to have a show running this long. So I'm honored. I appreciate you guys inviting me.
Bro, for sure. Hey, it looks like it's not just going to, we got my boy KD coming in as well, too. What's going on, Kev?
I'm bad on the tardiness, man.
How y'all? Katie, what's up, brother?
How y'all doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good, man. I'm just a tardy one tonight.
That's all right, brother.
Hey, it's Thursday, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. It's between me and Katie. Yeah, go ahead, pop out, bro. You know.
Pop out. Hey.
Let's go.
But yeah, for you guys who don't know Tim, he is a freaking powerhouse. I mean, Tim, like, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, like, how did you get started in real estate and really, you know, going in the military, getting into it? How did that kind of happen, man?
Yeah, I actually, man, when you really think about it, it's been a crazy 3.5 years. I started back in 2022, kind of by accident. I was living in a pretty poopy apartment downtown Louisville, Kentucky, serving at Fort Knox at the time. And I lived in this apartment, man. It was so noisy. There's so many neighbors and stuff, and I was paying a lot of money. And I was telling my girlfriend, who's not my wife now, which is hilarious. I literally looked at her and I was like, dude, I got to buy a house. And 6 months later, I ended up buying a house. It was a homestead, my primary residence. And how I got into real estate was my agent. And my agent was so amazing. She actually owned some Airbnbs, right? And when I went to go close, I actually asked her, I was like, hey, like you did mention like you had Airbnbs. If I wanted to get started, like, how do you recommend, or do you have any resources? And she pretty much led me to Bigger Pockets, right? Like, I'm sure most of our listeners here know what Bigger Pockets is. And I was driving to work every day, about 45 minutes each way. And I was just crushing podcast episodes. After a year of like not doing anything, I basically was like, you know what? I've been listening to this podcast, man. Let me just take some action. I would just creep on Zillow all day, and I found this pretty beat up flip and told my agent, yo, let's go see it. I'm ready to try to buy one. Made an offer, didn't even have my lenders lined up or anything. I didn't even know what any of this stuff was. And that was my first like real investment, man. So I don't know. It was crazy. It was crazy. Yeah. So basically what I want to tell people, it's like, it took me like 8-9 months of learning and like trying to get myself confident in order to like take action. And ultimately that deal didn't really work out for me, but what I got out of it was just tremendous experience.
Yeah.
Like experience is probably worth millions now. So.
Yeah. And fast forward like a couple of years, man, what are some of the things you're working on like currently?
Yeah. So everyone probably knows me online as like a wholesaler. So we have a pretty big wholesale company focused out in Texas and Kentucky. And then also we're actually closing in about 30-ish days. We're buying a 47 unit commercial building out at Baltimore. I'm stationed in Maryland, so it's right down the road from me. So no, I don't only just wholesale, but I do buy properties still as well. But that's been pretty cool, man. We've been trying to focus on growing the company here, and then also focus more on the commercial side for our portfolio side.
Man, I definitely have some questions about that. I know Kev has some questions more so on the commercial side, so I'll let him ask those in a sec. You know, jumping back to, I guess, like being in the military and starting a business, right? A real estate business, a wholesale business, growing a company while still active duty. Um, how do you do that, man? I know I've spoken with a few of my soldiers and things like that before in the past about doing those types of things, but just hearing your perspective on it, because you're excelling in that, right? Like, how did you, I guess, jump into that? How are you managing, your W-2 and still being able to do that?
Yeah, I think it's like anything else, right? When
Yeah.
you first start something, it's not your full time, full passion, right? When I first started, I wanted to do some flips, I wanted to have some rentals, and I don't know if anyone knows my original goal when I first started. So I will share this story with you guys first. So
Ooh.
basically, I know it's a little juiciness. I'll tell you the little notepad that I actually have in my office, right? My first notepad. It said, when I retire from the military, I think it was like 20 years in the military, I want to have 5 properties fully paid off so then I can have like $2 million of net worth and then have my military pension. That was my goal when I first started.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy to read that note because at that time, I didn't know what was really possible in real estate, right? It was just, hey, I'm going to do a deal or two every year, see if I can learn more, see if I can network more. And I think in my first year, we bought like 9 houses. So um, it's anything is possible, I guess. But
Yeah.
okay, but back to the original question.
Yeah.
Not when you first start something, you don't need to go as hard in the paint like I did or some other people you see online. I took a lot of risk. I think my risk tolerance was extremely low. I wasn't married, didn't have kids yet. So in my mind, I was like, if I'm gonna go 120%. If it doesn't work out, I'll go bankrupt and I'll do it again. That was kind of my mindset. Not many people can have that same mentality on it, and I understand. But I think the number one thing that I was trying to do was, hey, I'm gonna do as much as I can while I have the security of a job, and I treat my job as a superpower versus a liability.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people talk about jobs as like kind of crippling, but I think in the very beginning, it's actually super awesome to have a job because you have a W 2 income. You can qualify for loans, like hard money loans, conventional loans. I mean, the second property I bought, like as a buy and hold, was a house hack.
Yeah.
And, we can talk about that too, but, it's okay to start slow. And I think that's the number one thing. Start slow and start fat and start smart. And then you can start ramping up as you go.
Yeah. And when you say house hacking, just to find it out there for those, who are listening there.
Oh, like what a house hack is?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So sorry.
No, you're good.
So you could do a couple of different things. So you can buy a single family and then buy that property and then have people rent the bedrooms. I know traditionally back like when we first started investing, it was like the house hack. Everyone talked about that, where you would use like an FHA loan, put like 3.5% down, move into that house, and then have your homies live in the rooms, right? Which would cut your mortgage down. The most common way, though, people do it is if you buy like a residential multifamily, so 2 units to 4 units. If you're military, like us, like use the VA loan. So I bought this house with zero money down, and then also my agent and I negotiated seller concessions. So if you guys don't know what seller concessions are, is when the seller gives you like credits essentially to help you close. So we got like $9,000 seller credits because in Kentucky, like the max was 3% of the purchase price, which ended up like the title company cutting me a $200 check.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so I got paid $200 to buy this house with the VA loan. I lived in the 1 bedroom side, and then the 2 bedroom side, I actually renovated it and turned it into a midterm rental.
Nice.
So I was making like $600 to $800 a month living in that house.
Yeah.
So that's like an ideal situation for a house hack, but that's basically what I did there.
Man, it went really well for you, right?
Yeah.
The cool thing about that is like, again, these are things that anybody can do. I know obviously your situation was a little different, single dude, out there willing to take some risks and make it happen. And for those of y'all look at, man, well, I'm married and things like that. Like I did something similar out when I was in Kansas. We did like a live-in flip. We bought a house off post, needed some work, but nothing crazy because I have my wife in there, so it couldn't have been. It wasn't that bad. But I mean, it was so like old that they had literally they had carpet in the bathroom.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Very, very nasty. But we cleaned it up, got a pretty decent deal on it, lived in it about a year and some change. Fixed it up while we were there, and then left with a nice little check or whatever. So those the possibilities and things like that are definitely endless, for sure. And one thing I did want to ask before I pass it over to Kevin, because I know he got a slew of questions. I can see it in his eyes, and I saw him flip his cap backwards. So
Yeah.
he means business today.
Yeah, he's getting ready.
I know he's getting ready, man. Really about the transition from buying rentals, doing Airbnbs like that, to wholesaling. What brought you in wholesaling? What are the things that you are, I guess, liking about that, and how are you building that business currently?
Yeah, I think most people start in real estate by wholesaling because it's like the entry drug to real estate.
Yeah.
Just because there are a lot of vehicles to get a deal or make money off a deal without like the risk of buying and spending money. I went reverse. So I went with building a single family portfolio first. And as time progressed, like for me, and networking with certain people, meeting different people in the industry, I started realizing that single families weren't the answer for me. So, I think at the time I had 16 single families, and I really looked back and was like, I don't have enough money coming in to quit my job. Right. So I'm still on my W-2 right now. And I was like, well, with all these rentals and all these headaches, like I still am not free. Right. I'm still working a 9 to 5 and stuff. So, I was like, okay, I can make 10 grand, 15 grand off a wholesale like deal. So I started building out a team there. So started marketing with cold call, texting, email, and then I started doing all the crazy inbound stuff. But what I really liked about it is the idea of active income, right? So I talked to a ton of different investors, and their goal is to quit their job, right? Well, if they wanted to quit their job with single families, it would take them, depending on what strategy you're doing. If you're doing residential traditional and not doing short term or not doing co-living, whatever it is, it takes you on average of 33 properties.
Yep.
And normal people cannot do 33 properties, not in a short time period, right? So in order to quit your job or in order to find that financial freedom, you need to increase your active income. Either it's through your W-2, like nothing wrong with getting paid more on your W-2. Like I know people that make $400,000, $500,000 a year, they don't need the wholesale, right? They make that bread. But for guys like us, like there is no better vehicle than to scale a wholesale business or scale a flipping business. Like that is straight active income that goes into your bank account that you can use and buy property for tax depreciation, right? I know I just cracked open the lid of a lot of different things, but that's kind of like my purpose or my reason to going into wholesale is to increase that active income.
Yeah, and I would 100% agree with you, man. That's a lot of the reasons I got into it as well too. Is like I remember my first check, like just graduated college, learned a lot about it. And I think we pulled in like it was like $11,000 in the course of like 45 days. And I'm like, yo, I'm a second lieutenant. Like this is like triple my salary. You know what I mean? Like this is crazy. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And since then, I was pretty much hooked. Yeah, I guess with that, man, for those of us out there, starting off by yourself, what are some of the things that you would recommend? For those who are good about themselves who want to kind of grow it.
Are you talking about like how to grow like a wholesale business?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you're a beginner out there, this is my favorite thing. So if you're a beginner, you probably only have a couple hours a night, right? So you got to be very efficient with your time. So what I would personally do if you don't have money to really start like a marketing machine, ultimately you need money to start the machine, right? You need gas to put in your vehicle. So you don't have any gas, what I would do is I would do county courthouse records. So nothing is better than foreclosures. Unfortunately, people are going through foreclosure every day nowadays. There's dozens of foreclosures in my market every single day. If you're in LA, one of the guys in my community literally has 200 foreclosures every day in LA, right? Yeah. It's sad, right? But it's crazy. But nothing beats a foreclosure lead because one, the data is fresh every day. The reason why most people don't find success in wholesale is because they're buying old, outdated, and over-competitive data from all these variety of data sources. And they're cold calling these old lists that, takes them, 20, 30 hours to get one seller on the phone to like have a conversation. So if you only have so much time, I would do county foreclosures. and I would only focus on the foreclosures with high equity. So low equity foreclosures, little risky, and also a lot more complicated when it comes to negotiations and helping the seller out because you probably need to do a creative deal. So we only wholesale cash. That's our business model. We don't like the wholesale creative. So we only focus in the very beginning, high equity foreclosure. And the reason why is when you do reach a seller, they have to make a decision. There is no, let me sell it in 6 months. They have 2-3 weeks to make a decision, or they lose their house anyway. So with a high equity deal, you can do a low cash offer, and it's still high enough where they can pay their mortgage off and walk away with some money. And then you can go wholesale it for, 8 to 10K, right? That's what I would do.
I love that, man. And I'll say this, man. One of the first times I was talking to folks about some of the things that I was doing with was wholesaling, was a foreclosure list, things of that nature. A lot of people will look at that and say, "Oh man, you're just trying to take advantage of people in certain situations." And with that, man, like I want you guys to understand, for those listening out there, is like those people have serious things going on and they do need quick solutions or they lose their house. A lot of times you can try to list it with an agent, things of that nature, but it just doesn't pencil out because you're on a time crunch. You got to pay the agent. You may not have that type and also the house may be completely decrepit, right? So there's only a specific type of market out there, and wholesalers provide a solution to those types of people. And Tim, you could probably attest to this, but I've never had any seller complain about me helping them sell their house at all.
No, and I'm really glad you brought that up because wholesalers get a bad name, and a lot of us do deserve that bad name. And if you do wholesaling ethically, and what do I mean by that? It's like just tell the truth, man. Like you don't need to say, I'm gonna buy this house, and then you get under contract and then you try to sell it to an investor. Like we tell them exactly what it is. Like, hey, you need 30 grand down. That's not for me. Like I don't buy houses with 30 grand. But I do have a big network of buyers that I work with on a weekly basis, monthly basis, whatever. Like, if you don't mind, I get paid a finder's fee from them if I go bring them this deal. Is that something that you'd be open to? And that's like, they're like, yeah, man, if you can help me sell this house, like, I don't care if you get paid by them. So you can be 100% honest. And then number two, you need to truly believe that your calling or your marketing, yes, it may be annoying that we're cold calling you and texting you and doing all these things, but they wouldn't be able to sell their house without us. Like a foreclosure, by the time someone picks up the phone, usually have like 20 days. And everyone who's actually sold a house on the market knows that it takes way longer than 20 days. Like you got to qualify for a mortgage. That takes about 30 days. You got to list it. And on average, I think right now, depending on where you are, I think like what? In Phoenix, Arizona, it's like an average day of market of like 87 days. So you think those like sellers at Phoenix can sell their house quick? No. So the only way is to use an investor with a big buyer pool or connections to help you sell that deal. So it just depends on where you're at. I think, we do provide a service if you are value focused and you're ethical, right? And there's nothing wrong with being ethical.
I love that, man. Thank you for hitting on that. Yeah, Kev, I'm gonna pass it over to you. I know I've been talking a lot, brother. What you got?
Man, that's just the usual, brother. You know what I mean? Dude, man. But Tim, man, definitely appreciate you coming, man. So, I mean, I know we talked about the single family side, but I know you just said, when, dealing with a bunch of single families could be a headache, right? And trying to leave your job. What was the one light bulb moment that said, hey, I need to do multifamily? Because I know you're about to do 7 units right now, right?
Yeah, bro.
First one?
Yeah. First commercial deal for me personally. My partner, this is like his 4th or 5th, but this would be my personal one. But the light bulb that turned on for me was one of my properties had a leak in the roof, and it cost like 6 to 8 grand to like fix it all, re-drywall, all that stuff. And it was a midterm rental, so I was losing rent on it too. And bro, that was my like whole property's cash flow. Like for like the 2 years I've had it, like, I've accumulated all this cash flow, right? And then one roof, boom, like lost it all. And I started from scratch. So that was like, for me, I was like, you know what, dude, like I'm out. I'm making a good amount of money with wholesale. So I sold 6 properties 2024 and some this year. So I'm down to like 10 or 9, or no, down to 9 properties now. And then these properties, I'm going to sell a couple more. So I'm focusing on only keeping the ones that are actually crushing, that have been having great tenants, and focusing mostly on scaling the active side of the business, which is our wholesale company. And then obviously buying 1 to 2 big commercial deals. Yeah, I'm sure you're going to ask me more about this commercial deal. So I'll save that for later.
Yeah, man. I mean, because I had the same experience, man, with single family, right? Because I was I started out in 2006, as a realtor and a broker, and I started buying properties then, and having single family houses, was once it's vacant. I mean, you could have one vacancy, man, and it'll destroy you.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And so I once I understood cash flow and leverage, and having multi units, you can have 2 or 3 that's vacant, or maybe even 10 that's vacant, and still make the mortgage and not have to come out of your pocket. That was huge for me. You know what I mean? So, like, where are you guys investing at right now?
Yeah, so for us, this kind of, I normally would not have invested in Baltimore, but I'm out in Maryland right now. And I actually, what I've learned, and this will lead into the story, but what I've learned was commercial deals, like the home runs, are not on the market. They are not from wholesalers. They are from connections. People with multis, people with money are connected with people that have multis, right? And I actually met this dude who owns this house at a mastermind. So he was at a mastermind of ours. And is it okay if I tell you how much it cost?
It's okay.
Okay. All right. So this mastermind cost 30 grand for the year.
What was the name? I paid like 30 grand too.
Yeah, it was Pace Morbies. So I was in Owners Club. So I did Owners Club, and I actually was at the retreat in California. And I met this dude who sat down next to me at lunch. It was the last day of the event, and he was wearing a suit. And I was like, dude, what do you do, man? He's like, I'm actually a financial wealth manager in Texas. I live in Houston. And I was like, well, that's my market for wholesale deals. Are you actively buying? And he's like, yeah, I'm actually trying to sell one of my commercial buildings so I can liquefy and buy properties in Houston. So how we connected originally was, I was like, dude, I'll send you deals. And, I was sending him deals, and he was looking at them, buying some, not buying some. But as we started talking, I'm like, where are you from originally? Because you said you have this commercial building. He's like, well, I grew up in Bel Air, Maryland. And I'm like, dude, I live in Bel Air. Like, actually, right? Crazy. So he's like, dude, let's talk. And he had this building that his father was buying these units over a course of 30 years. And unfortunately, he passed away and passed that property over to him. And he had a property manager on there, and he was about to leave. And he was like, listen, man, like, I don't want to be there anymore. I have no reason to fly back to Maryland. And this property is awesome. It's got a lot of history to it. And if you're interested, like, I'm selling it at a 10 cap. So you commercial guy, can you please explain that? I'm not good at that stuff. So you can explain what a 10 cap is.
I mean, a 10 cap is good. I mean, that's kind of the capitalization rate, right? And what you're going to bring back, what it's going to bring back. I mean, people have a hard time, explaining what rates are, right? I mean, I don't even look for cap rates anymore.
Yeah.
Cash flowing, you know what I mean? That's the main part. I mean, cap rates can,
It can, and it's also different from different markets and all that stuff. But, long story short, this property was cash flowing $236,000 a year. It's insane. Wow. He had no debt service on it, right? Yeah. But ultimately, what we did was we structured a $600,000 down, $900,000 seller finance, and he sold it to me because he was like, dude, like, I want to start you off on your journey. You've helped me out already. And I want to, like, give you a chance to, like, start your, like, career in commercial. So he gave me a pretty sweet deal. He gave me $600K down, $900K seller finance at 4%. And after we pay our investors, after we pay him his seller finance note, my partner and I will cash flow about $7K a month. Day one, it's already 99% occupied, grossly under rented. So when we talk about leverage, right? Like we talked about leverage earlier, if we increase the rents, which we will in the next year, by $100, so it's not a lot, it's already under market rent, but $100 times 47 is almost $5K per month extra net cash flow. So not just the cash flow is awesome, but when we talk about leverage, right? So 5K times 12, I don't know how much that is, but if you do the NOI, cap evaluation, we're literally increasing the value of the property by like 300-400 grand over a year. You don't get that in single family.
No.
You don't get that type of cash flow in single family.
No.
So that is why I personally sold off almost half my single families, and this one property already is like making me a ton of money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, it just fiscally doesn't make sense for me to own single families.
So being that that now, I know, commercial is a team sport. You're not going to do it by yourself, right? I mean, like single family. Like when I first started single families, I was like, yo, I'm going to do this on my own. It was, hero ball. And I was going for 40 every game, right?
Yeah.
That's all that mattered, right? But now that, commercial is the main thing for me, what's your position in the team? Like, what's your specialty?
Man, I love capital raising and I love acquisitions. So that's my job of it. And then, obviously, like, I'm going to get paid like an acquisition fee on it as well. But that's my bread and butter, man, with training wholesale teams, sales teams, right? I'm very good at negotiating. I mean, we've been negotiating this deal for like 6-7 months. Build a lot of tremendous rapport, obviously. And my partner, he has experience in commercial. He is very systemized. He's very organized, and he has the experience. And also, he's good at capital raising as well, right? We both have a good network, but ultimately, like, I'm not good at like systemizing things. I'm not good at, managing tenants. I'm not good at like managing the payroll. Like, that's really all him. My job is to just, help with investor relations, right? All our investors own the deal, like keep them informed, keep them, at ease, and also, acquire that property, structure the deal. Right. He's also phenomenal at underwriting. So basically what my partner does is if we get a deal like that, he'll give me the 3-4 different options with seller finance, cash, whatever it is. And then I just play ball with the seller. Like, hey man, this is like kind of where we're at. And also commercial negotiating is way different than direct to seller in the wholesale space. There's not really much emotion to it. It's very like mathematical. It's very financial, which is way easier for me. Like, I'm good at the emotional stuff, but in the commercial side, it's like, it's all about money. It's a money decision. So, it doesn't fit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just different,
Yeah. So, I mean, understanding what the seller needs is, what I've started to learn is the most important thing, right? Why is the seller selling, and how can we structure the, if it's creative or seller financing, whatever it is, because I mean, I just sent an offer out on Friday on 67 units, and it was seller financing, 35% seller holdback. You know what I mean? So like, I mean, it's a little bit more. It's a little bit more. It takes a little bit more for commercial, but the outcomes are so much more. You can scale a whole lot faster with it. So that's why I love commercial now. And I mean, that's what I'll die looking, what I'm saying? I'll die with.
Yeah. I mean, all the biggest players in the space own commercial. You can make a tremendous amount of wealth with single families. I'm not saying like that's not a play, but I just think it depends on what your goal is at the end of the day. I think it's pretty well known now from everybody in the Army that it's my last year, so I'll just openly say it on the podcast too.
Heck yeah, congrats, bro.
Thank you.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, it's been crazy. I just got promoted to major too, and it was so funny, right? Everyone's like, "Why aren't you excited?" I was like, "Well, it's my last promotion in the Army, But and a lot of people didn't really know what my goals were, but your strategy should really depend on like what your goal is. Mm-hmm. Like if you're like, I had a conversation today at work and was like, what's keeping you going? And it's this for me, right? Like I want to be very big in real estate. Like I want to have, my brand, I want to educate people. I want to do all these things. And, I have bigger aspirations than just quit my job. So like, but some people say, well, I don't think I can do X, Y, Z. And I'm like, you don't need to do X, Y, Z. You can be happily like stay in the Army, retire, get a sick pension with medical benefits, all these things, and own 5-6 properties fully paid off my original goal, right? And absolutely crush it. Like, can you imagine getting a pension and making 10K a month in cash flow with all your benefits and healthcare? Like, you're living the American dream, bro. Like, you can't do that anywhere else.
Right.
So, I like to tell people, like, you don't need to own 100 properties to be happy. It just, that will make me happy. So, right? You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's my sonnet right there. That's my soundbite.
So this podcast is brought to you by the Army. No, I'm joking. You're living the American dream. Like,
yeah, let's go, baby. Right.
Right up today.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if you want zero money down loans by the VA, sign up for the Army. So
yeah.
Man.
No, that's good stuff right there. So I know you do, acquisitions. How are you locating your properties, and how are you getting with your investors? Like, do you go to just RIA meetings and meet with different people?
Oh my gosh. This is a loaded question, bro. Okay, so raising capital. Man, we can talk about this for like an hour or two. I got a lot of thoughts, but raising capital, in my opinion, right? I know y'all may have a different opinion, but for my opinion, I've raised the most capital from non-real estate investors. Really? I hate raising money from real estate events because everyone's like, yeah, I'm a PML, right? They'll like, who here's a PML? You hear like 20 people raise their hands.
Bro.
Like, right? You know what I'm getting at. And I'm like, okay, like, what do you want to lend? And they're like, I'll lend 50 grand. I'm like, cool. Like, what return are you looking for? 12 to 15%. Dude, you're not a PML, bro. Yeah. Get out of here. You're not a PML. Like our PMLs, we're giving 12% because it's our first deal, right? We want to give, but there were people that are offering me 8%. Wow. Like, yeah, I'll give you 8%. This one dude, he didn't have that much money. He said, I'll give you for 7%. Right. So like, but those dudes are like normal people, or they're just very wealthy. Right. So I'll give you an example. I'll give you a little bit of like tea. I got an investor that loaned us like 200 grand, and I met him at a tech startup meetup. So not a real estate meetup. I went to a business startup one where they were pitching deals like, hey, buy my soda company or buy my like energy drink company, right? And this dude cut a $2 million check, bro. Like that, I wouldn't have invested in that, but this dude cut a $2 million check, and I actually was like, hey man, like, can I like grab some? Can I like hang out with you, bro? Like, I know you're rich and you don't need me to buy you coffee, so I'm not gonna offer that. Like, that's just my personality, right?
Yeah. I'm
like, I'm not gonna buy you coffee because I know you can afford it. So can I just like hang around and like be your friend? And he's like, dude, that was actually like a pretty like cool like approach. Like, I actually appreciate that. And I was like, listen, dude, like, I don't know jack shit about startup companies, but I have income and I want to invest. Like, is there a way I can like bring you value or like, learn from you? And this dude just loved the idea that I was just asking him for like advice on startup stuff. Yeah. Right. Once he got to know me, he started to realize like I'm not a startup guy, and he was like, you do real estate, so like why are you doing all this stuff? And I'm like, well, I would love you to invest in my deal. And he was like, dude, whenever you have one, hit me up. So moral of the story is you go where the money's at, in my opinion. Yeah. And you don't go to a tech startup meetup to say and to pitch your real estate deal. You go there to actually try to be someone's friend and bring them value, right? So I have way more connections in terms of investors that do real big deals, and he's looking for places to park his money. So that's where my value is. So it doesn't have to be you being super rich or whatever it is. He needed a place to park his money and make wealth, build wealth. What better way to connect with me that has connections to big commercial deals that he can just park his money to? Right. And then after that, when I had my first deal, he was one of my first investors that wanted to, pitch in. Yeah.
No, that's good stuff, man. I mean, that's smart too. I mean, I started out in RIA meetings and, but that makes a lot of sense, man. You know what I mean? Because you got to have investors when you're doing commercial, man, because you're not going to have, that's why it's a team sport, man. I love the fact that it's a team sport, but you got to have investors. So the next question, how are you coming up with your deals? Where are you finding your deals? And, is it all wholesale type avenues, or are you actually talking to brokers?
Single families, we do our own marketing for it. We don't really keep that much anymore, but we spend our own money. We have our own team doing that. For commercial, that was through internal connections. We also bought this property trying to close on this property because it's in a very historic part of Baltimore. So what we're going to do with this is host meetups at our building. So how cool is that, right?
Yeah,
like, yo, come to our building. We're going to host meetups. And that's just going to bring us more credibility with brokers, agents, whatever it is, and to show that we can actually close like a multi-million-dollar property. And I'm sure that alone will bring us leads. But I guess like for someone that's looking to get into commercial, definitely build connections with brokers that's focused on the asset type that you're going to buy. So in commercial, there's so many different types of asset classes that, we can talk about, but just to name like the popular ones that people talk about, I'd probably say self-storage.
Yep.
I would probably say RV parks right now, because Pace Morby talks about RV parks. And then there you have your traditional multifamily residential where people live in, like the apartment complexes. And then what we actually really like is strip malls. So my partner owns a few strip malls, and we love that concept because it's very passive. There's triple net leases where the tenants pay for everything. Yep. So it's straight mailbox money. So I don't know if you guys see the trend, but I'm looking for all commercial properties that produce mailbox money. I don't want to deal with jack nothing, right? So that's kind of my focus on it, and that's what we're kind of pursuing that avenue right now.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. I mean, because I do acquisitions and capital raising too, so I mean we're a lot alike. But I talk to being that I was licensed for 19 years, all I do is reach out to brokers, man, and build relationships with brokers, and just have them send me their pocket listings and the stuff that they have off market, and we're a lot in a lot of different ways.
If you guys are buying single families and you guys need to raise capital, I know people are going to roll their eyes on this, but you got to start posting content.
Yeah. No, bro.
Right? Because it's a lot of credibility, dude. Like when people come to my page, they know that I'm doing some sort of real estate, so they know I'm not fake. So I'm like all over the place. And if you're raising capital, LinkedIn. LinkedIn's probably the best vehicle, and then my Instagram is probably second. So my Instagram, I do it to generate emails. So I give out free stuff, and then I get their email address, and then literally when I'm raising a deal, I just blast my emails. I think I have 3,000-4,000 people on my email list. I just blast it all out, and then it'll usually get funded.
Yeah,
so
that's good stuff right there, man.
Yeah.
So I've been hogging it, man. Go ahead, Rick. I know you're chomping at the bit.
Nah, bro, this is good stuff, man. Because hey, I'll be first one to tell. I don't know nothing about commercial outside of what Tim, you talk about, KD, what you talk about, and then what some of our other guests talk about. But I do truly believe that is that I want to say it's the next step for me right now, because my big focus right now is I want to grow and scale the wholesale business that we have.
Let's go.
Because I got a few more years left for sure in the military for my contract.
He can't say it openly yet. He can't say it openly.
Yeah. So I gotta grind, man. And I think I see folks like, bro, again, I see folks like you. I see folks like in the community, man. And I'm like, I know this is possible, and it's in its simplest form. Like, you really just have to put in the work as opposed to dancing around the idea of putting in the work. Because a lot of people, again, that's literally spitting image of what you said in the beginning, bro. Bigger pockets. I dove into it. I mean, I was so into bigger pockets. I remember I was in college, senior year, and I heard bearded Brandon start talking about it. And he has go to the link in my bio, and I'll give you your own cash flow quadrant. And I'm like, oh, it's Robert Kiyosaki. I know this. So I went there, downloaded it, and I'm sitting at my desk doing this. And I literally spent, no joke, 7 months going on Zillow, analyzing properties to learn. And I was like, bro, all right, I gotta do something, man. Because right now I'm just spinning my wheels, telling people what I want to do, but I'm not doing
Yes.
it. And then COVID hit, and COVID was beautiful. Yeah, it was beautiful in terms of the free time that I had.
Oh yeah.
In terms of the free time that I had, it was because I just graduated and went to Bullock, man, and it was all online. So
you were a COVID Bullock baby.
Bro, I'm not even joking. It was so bad. This is crazy to me, but people were logging into our Zooms online with masks on. I'm like, yo, you're in your apartment. Like you can take your mask off if you want to.
Yo. Dude,
But
I'm old, bro. You make me feel old. Like I was
yeah,
like
bro,
a senior captain, dude.
yeah, I'm a second year cap. I'm 2020, year group 20, man.
Holy cow, bro.
But yeah, but no,
Damn.
all that to say, man, is that it's so awesome to hear from you, man. And like again, the whole thing about this podcast is really we're trying to bring folks in to show people that anything is possible. We've had various guests from all types of backgrounds, man. And really the theme here is like if you really want something to happen, you just have to be motivated enough to actually go make it happen. You have to have self-belief, whatever that it is.
Yeah.
And like you said, if you want to work for 20, 30 years in your job and collect a pension, that's a great goal to have if that's what you want to do. I believe, I don't know what your religious background is, but I believe that God put you on this earth to be so much more than what you think you are, right? So just like your goal is five properties paid off, by the time I retire, you quickly realized how possible that was probably within the first 6 months of you actually investing. So
yeah,
I try to challenge people to just grow and aim higher, man.
Dude, 100%, right? And I think, when most people started real estate investing prior to 2020, because I think 2020, that COVID time, like got people, super into the podcast, super into like books and all that stuff. And, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, stuff like that. And they started investing in real estate. But prior to that time, like in the 90s and the 80s, like information was not abundant. Right. Yeah. You'd have to be in the circles or you'd have to pay a lot of money to get into these circles to learn about, a strategy. Right. And I think now it's so overflowing with information, like including myself. Right. Like people watch my content about wholesaling and like, I say one strategy is the best. Right. And it's a strategy that my business uses. But then you have 3 other coaches and stuff that are telling you do this strategy. Right. And it's very overwhelming. So the one thing that I would say for someone trying to get started is not one strategy beats the other, in my opinion, the truth. As a marketer, I will say that my strategy is the best. However, in reality, if you stick to one strategy and not do a little bit of 6, right, you could become very successful. Right. You can find 50 single family properties on the MLS. It's going to be a lot harder to find a deal on the MLS right now. But if you stuck to that strategy and you got really good at it and got really good at underwriting, you could buy 10 properties off the MLS. Right. You don't need to do what I do with marketing and stuff. Right. So it's just find out what you want to do. Just pick something, suck at it. Everyone sucks when they first start. And after 1,000 no's, you will get that yes, and that yes is going to feel so glorious. So, that's my one piece of advice for guys or girls just trying to get started.
Yeah. Now I know we're coming down to the home stretch, man, Tim. But we always like to talk to folks about what's your top 3 books that anybody that's listening out there that has helped you or propelled you to where you are now.
My God.
If you're a reader,
put me on the spot. I'm looking around my office right now.
Either, but listen to Matt.
I am a reader, so hold on one sec.
Here we go. We'll come back in a suit or something. Go flip up.
This book here.
There you go.
How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. So really good book for you just being a human being and being able to communicate with people. Yeah. And get people to like you, right? Because nobody wants to do deals with you if they hate you. So I think this is a phenomenal book. Number 2 would be Who Not How. I don't know if you ever read that book, but
I've heard of it.
This book is so important to me because, me and Rich have a full-time job. So we don't have a lot of time. I actually was texting Rich the other day. I was like, do you have an executive assistant, right? Because he's doing all these things himself. And Who Not How is not focusing and learning of how to do everything yourself, because that takes forever. And also you're probably going to suck compared to like someone that does this forever, right? As their job.
Yeah.
So instead of you trying to learn everything yourself, you need to find the who. So I suck at underwriting and I don't know shit about commercial, but who, my partner, Phil, can underwrite and deal with commercial. Save me 10 years of YouTube. right? If I watch 10 years of YouTube, I might be as good as him. So that's like the second book. Number 3, I'm not going to say Robert Kiyosaki's book.
Thank you.
It's good, but it's not that good. And then I would say number 3, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Yes, sir.
Probably my number 3. So
Yeah.
this book is fantastic. And obviously, guys, I'm a real reader. I have the books here. So
They're just for show.
Yeah, they're just, I'm building my bookcase right now. And I see all these, but this book's incredible. It makes you think bigger, right? It makes you think larger. And this is a big mindset book. So for you, start off with a mindset book, right? Think bigger, and then who, not how. So you know how to hire people, and then learn how to talk to people. Those are my 3 books.
Man, that's super dope, man. That's super dope.
Yeah.
Was that a good list?
Yeah.
No, some folks don't even like to read, man. You know what I'm saying? So we get people on here that's doing big things, and you know, they may not even have 3 books to give us. You know,
I feel like some people just come up here and just make up stuff. Be like, you know, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm like, you know what? I've heard that before.
You fake.
I've heard that
And
before.
you can read audiobooks too. That's fine. Audiobooks are good.
I'm a big guy, man. I love audiobooks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think that's solid. I think, again, books are important for sure. And really, it's one thing to read the book, right, and say, I read this book, but it's another thing to actually apply it. So if you guys are not only, taking this advice with reading these books, but make sure you actually apply it, or it's just really going to nowhere. I heard, I think it was Alex Ramosi, we were talking about it a little bit backstage. He was speaking on one of the, I don't know, listening to some like podcasts or whatever. And he had mentioned that, this person told him he had read like 30 books this year. And he was like, okay, well, like, what did you learn? And like, did you apply it? And he couldn't tell him about any of the books that he was reading because he just read them to say he read 30 books, but he didn't really take anything from it. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're going to spend all your free time reading books and not take any action, probably no point. So I agree with that.
Yeah, that's a waste of time if you ask me.
Yeah.
But shoot, man, outside of that, I don't have anything. I don't want to keep you. I could ask you a million more questions, but I think I'll save that for another day, for sure. But man, like, again, thank you for hopping on, man. This has truly been a blessing. Definitely one of, my favorite episodes, man, getting to hear from you, another, fellow serviceman who is really making it happen out there, man. And yeah, I appreciate you, brother. Any parting comments that you have for the group before we hop off?
No, man. I mean, dude, I don't really do podcasts very much anymore. Life's busy. So, but when you guys invited me, I had to come on because, one, I love what you're doing, man, Rich. You're one of my fellow Army buddies. You also know one of my old bosses. So, I appreciate all the value that you and Katie are giving out to the community. I think it's well needed. Financial literacy is so unsaturated and it's so gatekept still, even to this day of like the modern age. And I just, just keep it 100, keep it transparent with everybody. And I hope to see you guys on episode 100 one day.
Ooh, I like it. Hey,
cool.
You heard it here first, folks. This was episode number 29 of the Assets Over Money podcast. We'll see you guys for episode 30 in a couple weeks. Peace.